Good morning. On my channel today, I'm out for an early morning Sunday ride in Toronto. I'm down in High Park, but more specifically, I'm right on the shore of Grenadier Pond. It's a historically significant pond in Toronto, but I'm not going to get into that today. Yesterday in Toronto, there was a Canada First rally downtown. It started off at Christie Pitts, Bloor and Christie area, but from what I'm to understand, the police shut that down. So they kind of went mobile. So they are walking up and down Bloor. They ended up at Dundas Square, the Canada Freedom Rally. Now the Canada First Rally, I should say. The Canada First Rally was also labeled an anti-immigration rally, I guess by the left. So there was a counter protest down there. From the limited video that I watched, it would appear that the counter protesters were larger in numbers and, as usual, a lot more vocal. So it's the same rhetoric from the left. They're paid agent provocateurs, Antifa, dressed in black. You know, I'm wearing black today too, but I'm not wearing a full face mask. I'm not wearing a hood. I'm not wearing an N95 mask. So lots of people on the Canada First side were carrying Canadian flags. There was some confrontations. Some of the left grabbing at the flags. I seen 3 arrests. The police would appear to have made 3 arrests, and it would appear that it was the Antifa members that got arrested. I didn't see anyone on the Canada First side getting arrested, but that's, like I said, limited video that I watched. I was invited to go to this rally, protest, whatever you want to call it, but I knew that there was going to be government employees there, and I don't mean the police. I mean people on the Antifa side of the aisle. I call them liberal employees. They're financed through liberal channels, through George Soros, more specifically his son Alexander Soros has now taken over. And these are well-funded, well-organized people. So it makes you wonder how the left can get so organized. Well, the reason they get so organized is because they have people in positions to allow the organization. A lot of the police force, a lot of the judicial system, most of the media are all infiltrated by Antifa members. The LGBT community, the trans community, which is one of the same, the Black Lives Matter movement, the Palestinian Hamas movement, they're all one of the same. They're all Marxist communists. Those flags, the gay flag, the Palestinian flag, the BLM flag, certain union flags, they're all used as foot soldiers for the Antifa movement. So when I look at one of those flags now, I just look at it as a communist Marxist flag, and a lot of people do. And there's going to be a time in my lifetime where those flags will represent the flag of hate, the flag of division, the flag of violence. And that's coming soon. With Charlie Kirk's assassination, that is going to expedite the clampdown on those sort of organizations. Donald Trump has to go after the Alexander Soros type people that are funding these people to come down there and be violent. Most of the people down there at the anti-immigration protest were white women in their 60s. There was a lot of beta feminized men. Most of them that I seen were above 6 feet tall, very angry, and very in your face. So that's what I seen from the news clippets that I seen, and a couple of them got arrested. So yeah, it's the usual suspects. Had some people to my left. I didn't know what they were doing, so I had to stop for a second. But getting back to the protest yesterday in Toronto. I didn't go to that protest because I didn't want to put myself or anyone else in harm's way. There'll be a time when I'm at a protest. I was at the trucker protest, or the Freedom Convoy protest, in February of 2022. I was there on the second weekend of the 3 weekends that it went on, and I was there for 3 days. And there's a famous picture of people that were on Parliament Hill, like thousands and thousands of people, and I'm in that photo somewhere. So yes, there's going to be a time where yeah, I'll be a little more involved. I'm sure out of necessity. I'll have to. Um, I don't want this to escalate any further than it already is. But I've been preparing for years for that. I know where this is going. It's coming to a head. You got people that are on the left that are so volatile and so violent and so willing to accept people's demise, and I mean violently um, taken care of. And with regards to Charlie Kirk, there's thousands of people that are on social media rejoicing, like I said in one of my videos, and they're being tracked down, they're being fired, and all that sort of good stuff. But so those people are being tracked down. Is Donald Trump ramping up the rhetoric with regards to, maybe getting the head of the snake of this movement? Yeah, I would say that he is. Is Charlie Kirk going to be a martyr? I would say that he already is. And there are I have my suspicions with regards to his assassin. He didn't act alone, and I'm starting to doubt the fact that he even pulled the trigger, to be honest with you. I don't know who wanted Charlie dead. Well, where do you start, really? But I can't pin it on any one nation right yet. But that guy that they're saying pulled the trigger, I'm not really buying that. Uh, Things aren't adding up. But is Charlie Kirk dead? Yes, he's dead. I'm not saying that that was a hologram and he's alive somewhere on Epstein Island or hanging out with whoever. He is indeed dead. But things are going to drastically change. Unfortunately, I live in a very liberal city, and the person that looks like me isn't the safest person these days, just for my appearance and definitely for my views. But what I want to reiterate is that, yeah, I don't want violence, but if violence is bestowed upon me, I'm going to react in kind tenfold. So that's where I'm at, and that's where a lot of people are getting on my side of the aisle. And that's just the common sense side. That's not a radical right wing agenda. I was more of a centrist up until before COVID, and over the past 5 years, I've been leaning more and more to the right. But you know what? Violence isn't the answer. But do I think violence is going to be the ultimate end result? Without a doubt. Without a doubt, there's going to be violence on the streets, and it's going to be soon. So I'm prepared for that. A lot of people are prepared for that, and most people aren't. So when it does come, the people that have had their heads buried in the sand are going to be at a very distinct disadvantage. The people on the left, the Antifa movement, which a good percentage of the Antifa movement are homeless street kids. They would rebel against anything. They're violent out of necessity. They've made themselves tough by living on the streets. I was in 2 homeless encampments yesterday on one of my rides. I went for a late ride yesterday. I was in 2 homeless encampments down in Weston, Ontario, which is a little enclave in Toronto by the Humber River. And I talked to two different encampments. And the first encampment, yeah, they were younger guys. They look, Antifa-looking type guys. Tats up the neck, the big plug earrings. A little twitchy, I'll say. And they thought I was a cop right away when I approached them, and I assured them that I wasn't a cop. Did they believe me? Nah, probably not. But I don't really give a fuck. But I just said I'm riding through that park for a separate reason, and the reason is not to see your homeless encampment. You're going to see me down here. And a couple of them said, yeah, they did see me a few times. And yeah, I'm not down there looking for anything with regards to them. I know they're on drugs. I know they're drinking. I would say most homeless people do that. So that's their thing. Then the second homeless encampment I talked to, they're moving out of there because they have a problem with another homeless encampment down there. It's growing. So he was an older guy, an Indigenous woman, which I liked. I know their names. I'm not going to say them on camera. And they're moving to a spot where I know. Hopefully, it's going to be a little better for them, but ultimately, the weather is going to catch up with them, and they seem to have a plan with warm blankets and whatnot. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to go visit them when they're into their new spot, because I know exactly where it is. They told me where they're going. They even showed me a map, and I said, yeah, I know exactly where that is. And it's a better spot, a much better spot than where they are. But I think it's going to be more dangerous for them. But he seems to have weighed all the pros and cons. It is now 8:14 a.m. I got an early start. You know, I could have went to that rally yesterday. There's a part of me wishing I did, but it would have been confrontational for me. These people on the left get in your face, and that's what they want. They want to invoke a violent response from you. But the thing is, they are so unhinged that, you know, they can't keep their hands off people. So even grabbing a flag, it's going to lead to a physical altercation, and that's what I seen the police react to. They arrested the people that grabbed the flags. But having said that, do I think those people were government employees that got arrested? Yes, I do. So the cops make it look good on citizen journalists video, but then they're just going to release them around the corner and you know, don't come back to this one, sort of thing. Come back to the next one. So there's no judge in Toronto that's gonna upstay any sort of mischief charges, disrupting the peace charges. There's no judge in Toronto that's gonna uphold that for a left-wing person, because the judge is most likely a left-wing appointee. So the system's rigged. It's going to take a revolution to unrig the system. And you know, I'm going to be 56 in a couple of weeks, so I'm a little bit past my prime with regards to revolution. But then you look at people on the left, and they're in their 70s and they're acting like fools, and they can't back up physically what their mouths are and their emotions are getting themselves into. There's a lot of young Antifa types that that could probably hold their own. Their cardio is probably not bad, and you know, they got rage for a multitude of reasons. They have no money. They're living in a tent in the woods, and they've been indoctrinated through their educational system their whole life to fight and rage against the machine. And the machine is whatever cause you give them, and if you pay them, which the government does, everyone's on the government dole. You know, the government, the people that are employed by the government in this country is far more than needed. Then all our social assistance programs is, you know, there's, I don't know how many there are. I've never been on any of it, but it is kind of well, I'm not saying lucrative. I guess to some people it is lucrative, but it is kind of a necessity to go out and fight for your government handout, and that's what a socialist country is, which is leading to a communist country and a tyrannical dictatorship, which is what this country, Canada, is going to. Our country is recognized worldwide as one of the most tyrannical leftist countries in the world. Sure, you got the UK, France, Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands. Yeah, they're all up there. Like France and the UK right now, they're completely overrun with African immigration, Muslim immigration, but they're fighting back. There was a huge protest there. I think yesterday, actually, or the day before, led by Tommy Robinson, and Elon Musk was even involved in that via satellite link. But yeah, there was like 1 million people. I seen. You know, I didn't watch any video on it quite yet. I haven't caught up to that, but it looked like a huge rally. Will that eventually happen in Canada? Yeah, it will. Well, what they do, anyone on the right that organizes that sort of thing is immediately ostracized by the government-paid media, CBC, Global, City TV, CP24, all those sort of, Toronto Star, all those sort of outlets. And so, you know, Chris Barber and Tamara Leach, you know, they're still fighting mischief charges from the trucker convoy in 2022. They want to confiscate and crush Chris Barber's truck, which is his livelihood. So anyone that is going against the liberal grain is villainized, and the full extent of the law is thrown at them. But not only the full extent of the law, it's fabricated laws and fabricated stories. So it's not easy for anyone on the right to organize, and that's by design, obviously. You know, the media is in their pocket, the judicial systems, and many of the police, and all different levels of the police. Yeah, when you're up against that, it's difficult, but I think we're going to prevail. But anyhow, thanks for watching. You got any questions or comments? Put them in the comment section. Enjoy your rest of your Sunday. Bye.